The One Micronesia Show is brought to you by Pizza Hut and Taco Bell.
Ali Mohithi, Hafide Zantiro, Rananim, Kasalili, Lengwo, and Yakwe. Welcome back to another episode of the One Micronesia Show. Last episode, we talked with the president of Palau about getting the compact signed, but now we get to do a one-on-one with them right here on Guam to find out what the new contract has in stores. Check it out. Hafide, and welcome back to another edition of the One Micronesia Show. And this one, the one-on-one, and of course, it's not through Zoom anymore. We're literally in person here, and I'm so honored to have you on the show back again. Welcome back, and for you to make time for us. I know you're very busy. I know you're here for the sustainability conference that's happening here on Guam. But so thank you for the time to squeeze us in and to just talk about a couple of things. So, Mr. President, His Excellency, thank you so much, and welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. Thank you for allowing me the time to speak on the show, because I know there's Palauans that live here on Guam, and they also probably want to know what's going on in Palau. But just the opportunity always to share and engage with the public is so important. So really, thank you for the opportunity to be interviewed.
Like I said, it's such an honor to have you on the show. So let's pick up from where we ended during our Zoom call, and we know we were talking about back a couple months back the compact, but now everything is kind of in line and on the road to better things. So let's talk about where we're at now with the compact, and I know everything's secured, but from what I've heard and I've read, it's everything now is more. It's a different agreement now. It's with Palau and the U.S., and where Palau is more at the table now, so to speak, and to kind of help with the agreement and the way forward. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, I think one of the keys with this negotiation with the United States, it was really a review, because the compact, actually, the Palau's compact, unlike FSM and RMI, was a 50-year agreement. And so it had review points, 15-year, 30-year, and then 40th, and then, of course, and the 50th year. Palau's compact basically says the U.S. has denial rights in perpetuity, but for some reason, the economic assistance had term limits. And so really what we were able to talk with the United States about is we should look at this agreement as it's a partnership. It should be good for the United States, but it also should be good for Palau. And we need to be working together. So really the negotiations that were done in 2020 were more in line with this concept that the U.S. has, is that assistance to you should end, and you should be on your own beyond that. So they had offered $400 million to Palau, but in return they said, and the trust fund that you're drawing from, you should stop drawing from that and let that grow so that by 2044 you just continue using that. That was kind of the premise of the negotiations. And it was the premise from the first compact that we had. What I think was important, and one of the things that we wanted to make very clear to Washington was that's not a fair agreement. That really sets Palau backwards. And if you look at the history, economic and growth in Palau has been stagnant. I credit FSM and RMI. Their agreements have every time they've renegotiated, and then they've gotten more money, and it's fantastic. But Palau was always on this get less. You're stuck to that box that we created back in 1983, and you're staying within that. So we had to break out of that box. And so the good news is that at the end, for Palau, we're still able to use our trust fund, which is a minimum of $15 million a year, plus we get the $889 million. So if you add those together, it's really about $1.2 billion that Palau gets to use for government operations over the next 20 years, versus what it would have been $400 million. The U.S. was able to come back to the table and really understand these are the needs, this is the critical situation that we're in. Really what we want to do is provide that economic stability, build a resilient economy that we can all grow on, to provide that prosperity that we need, and more importantly, provide opportunities for Palauan people to come back to Palau. The money in our compacts goes straight to education, healthcare, security, climate change, infrastructure, which are all the core to building a strong and resilient economic base that we can grow from. The other thing that it does is part of the agreement, the 10 million that we get for the next 6 years will go to pay off our debts, because unlike FSM and RMI, we're not eligible for grants. We've had to take out loans. For our fiber optic cable, we're $60 million in loans. And so hopefully this will help us just create that base that get us back set on course and kind of a reset and build back stronger and better. And that's what it should be. Negotiation should be about that. Of course we wanted more. Palau wanted more. But we have to be realistic, we have to be practical, we have to be reasonable. And at the end of the day, we have to come to a compromise to get the agreement. So we're really thankful to the United States, to the generosity of the U.S. government, in really understanding the partnership, and really understanding that we need to work together. So
Amazing.
And maybe I should just add some of the other things that are in the compact.
Yes.
That are for citizens that are outside of Palau.
Yes.
So Palauan citizens in Guam, for example, before weren't eligible for a lot of those federal services like food stamps and social service programs. FSM and RMI were, but we weren't. So now we're back and eligible to those. So our citizens get the same benefits. Of course, we already know that we got Medicare, but the other good thing is now Pell Grants are written into law for education.
Wow.
We have the eligibility now for in-state tuition. That's important for our kids getting educated outside of Palau, and hopefully having less student loans. That'll encourage them to come back home, because with those large student loans, it's hard for them to come back. Wages are so much better, and they need those high wages to pay down those loans. So if you reduce that vet burden, hopefully that'll bring them home. And also the veterans benefits. Our vets who have served in the U.S. military, they want to come home, but when they can't receive those medical benefits at home, they're not going to come back. They're going to stay in Texas. They're going to stay in Kansas. They're going to stay in Hawaii. Now, for them being eligible to get all those benefits, hopefully they'll come back home. And even the social benefits for the elderly are important. The other program is the health services program, which if you are in the medical field, you get student loans or there are scholarships that will be available for those who want to come back to the islands. But there's those that can now be able to go to medical school or advanced degrees that are so expensive. Now they'll be able to get those opportunities, and even encourage other healthcare professionals in the U.S. that want to come out and get their loans written off for that service. So those are, I think, just some of the opportunities that this new compact will really help in the development of those critical areas, which are healthcare and education. So,
A message to them, either they're in Palau or abroad.
Well, whether you're in Palau or abroad, the choices we make every day impact not only the communities we live in, but the planet. It requires all of us, and I like to say we are stronger together, and all of us contributing and doing our part. And so, wherever you are, do your part.
Well, again, Mr. President, thank you so much. Like I said, congratulations to Palau on another new amazing contract and agreement with the United States. And like you said, talk about the opportunities that now has offered that in Palau. You talk about the opportunities of Palauan citizens abroad and things like education and healthcare. What an amazing and opportunity, and congratulations on Palau.
Well, thank you. And thank you for the opportunity to share.
Sulang, kamrad, and thank you so much, Mr. President, for giving us the time to sit down with you and find out what the new compact agreement is for Palau and how it's going to do Palau good in the future. Thank you so much, guys. We're going to take a break. We'll be back with more of the One Micronesia Show.
The One Micronesia Show is brought to you by Pizza Hut and Taco Bell. The One Micronesia Show is brought to you by Pizza Hut and Taco Bell.
One Micronesia Show, and we're back. All right, so just last month we had the Yap Culture Day, but one of the main focus and one of the main impacts of that day was a remark from Elizabeth Mdin. So we had a one-on-one with her, and we found out what her remark had. Check it out.
My name is Elizabeth, and I teach EN 111 and EN 110 here at the University of Guam.
Elizabeth Mdilrutun earned her double bachelor's degree in English and Historical Political Studies at Chaminade University in Honolulu in 2015 at the age of 21. She moved to Guam in 2016 and began her studies under the Masters of Arts in English. In 2018, she completed her degree program and began working at the University of Guam as an adjunct instructor. In 2019, Mdil was finally brought on to work as a full-time faculty, which allowed her to finally formalize her role as the YAP Student Organization Faculty Advisor.
As we celebrate today, it is my hope that the youth, regardless of their cultural makeup, come to recognize that their personal identities, educational goals, and life dreams do not always have to exist at the expense of each other. We hope that today's celebration is the start of many more celebrations to come, when we create spaces for us to be the Yapis that we are away from Yap.
Her keynote speech was so powerful and inspiring that I had to get her on a one-on-one to get more insights on her remarks.
One of the kind of bigger parts of that has to do with the stuff that we want from back home. And so if you've ever been to the airports here on a flight that comes from Yap, there's like a lot of coolers, and most of the time those coolers have taro, fish, betel nut, things we want from home. And a lot of times when we call back home and we ask for those things, a lot of the comments that we get back is, you left the island, so you must leave these things behind too. In so many ways, those things are said as jokes, just subtle reminders that you've left home. But after leaving home for like 10 years, it's not a joke anymore. It's kind of like telling you, like, leave these things behind. But those are the things that we look forward to. Those are the parts of home that we could actually bring with us. We can't bring the land with us. We can't afford to bring our entire families with us. And so those are the more tangible parts of home that we get to bring with us. And I teach here at a university. I have very stained teeth. I've gotten a lot of comments, and a lot of times those comments are from Yapese people about, like, you don't look like you work at UOG. And a lot of it has to do with my teeth. And it's a point of pride for me that I'm existing in this space, and I'm still tethered to the space that I came from. So I have no shame in my betel nut chewing habits. It's probably not the most hygienic, but it's those really small things, the things that we choose to keep with us about our homeland. That was one of the reasons that I wanted to bring that up. It didn't help that one of the issues that came up in the planning of the event had to do with a lot of pushback from a lot of members in the community about us misrepresenting our culture, us not knowing what we're doing. And it sort of became a conversation, if you guys can't do it right, you guys shouldn't do it at all. And that's a really important conversation to have, because that's almost discouraging people from trying anything. There's a lot of people that look at the decisions that we've made to live abroad, and they're thinking that it's that we've made a decision that's really an ultimatum. Like, we stayed home or we left home. But I don't know that I've ever made that decision. I've never made the decision that I'm leaving home. I made the decision to go to school. I made the decision for a paycheck that could support me and potentially support my family. Those were the decisions that I made. I never made the decision to not be home. It's a byproduct of those decisions that we made of getting education, of getting a better job, that we are not home. But it doesn't, but that was not the decision that I know personally that that wasn't the decision that I made. And as much as I can, I try to be home.
One of the biggest key points in Medil's remarks was in regards to a part of that day's theme, inspiring the future. She talks about how important this day was to our youth here on Guam and abroad.
How the community approaches these youth, right? And these spaces that we're trying to make them thrive in, or we're putting them at the center of. One of the things that I had said in this speech is about and that was really just kind of like a subtle reminder that if we're the ones picking ourselves out, there's not going to be anybody left here, you know? And so the least we can do for our youth is to be the people that stand behind them and just kind of like nurture whatever it is that they're trying to do. We have to remember that when we have the difficult conversations, that we double down on why we're doing these things, that we remind them of like where the end goal is at and the good things that will come out of it.
I asked her what were some of her takeaways from the event and how she felt about it.
I think that it was a really successful day for what we wanted it to be. Granted, there are many ways that we could improve, as is with everything that we do. What the planning committee had, the resources they had to work with, and the obstacles that they had to jump through and things like that. It's really amazing what that day has done. And I think that for a first run, it was pretty successful. What is important is how we follow up with it. I think that's the next critical conversation. What do we do after this so that we don't lose that momentum that we kind of created?
Medil, thank you so much, and Kamagad for the time, for letting us sit down with you and talk about your amazing, inspiring speech. Thank you, guys. Guys, want to take a break? We'll be back with more of the One Micronesia Show.
The One Micronesia Show is brought to you by Pizza Hut and Taco Bell. The One Micronesia Show is brought to you by Pizza Hut and Taco Bell.
One Micronesia Show, and we're back. This time we have to talk to John Howard, who is spearheading the FAS Youth Rally. Check it out.
Foneni Atoto Sensu Athletics Club is a non-profit sports organization is inviting one and all to their second annual FAS Youth Rally that is taking place on April 13 at the Dedido Sports Complex. John Howard, the FAS Athletics Club president and founder, describes what you can expect at this year's rally.
The goal of the FAS Guam Youth Rally is to gather our church groups, non-profit organization, and just our FAS group, just to gather to, really to just to have fun together, just to enjoy, celebrate unity, promote peace, and through music, songs, and at the same time we invite guest speakers to speak to the youth.
Last year, Howard said the rally was well attended and is hoping this year surpasses that.
So last year there were about 15 groups that responded to our invitation. Within just the Chukis community, we have more than 30 church groups, like Protestant and Catholic. And out of the 30 groups, about 15 responded, Catholic and Protestant. And we also had about, I think, 15 guest speakers. So we kind of see the vision that it's good to involve the church to promote responsible, productive FAS community in Guam. So that's the goal, to gather the churches and gather the youth organization, non-profit organization, and you just kind of just work together.
And on Saturday, April 13th, many came out to the Dedido Sports Complex. And in case you missed it, we got you. As for what Howard hopes for in the years to come for the event,
We hope to see more participation from Guam and FSM and even the other FAS nations in Guam.
Thank you and Cristo Tapper, John Howard, for that amazing event. Hey, we can't wait to see the next one. Guys, we're going to take a break and we'll be back with more The One Micronesia Show.
The One Micronesia Show is brought to you by Pizza Hut and Taco Bell. The One Micronesia Show is brought to you by Pizza Hut and Taco Bell.
One Micronesia Show, and we're back with the last and final part. And I'm combining two things: the recap of the Yap Culture Day with Josh and Maulik's Micro Mix. Check it out.
mandarkao D-R-A-O-L-D-E Darangalogale
That pretty much does it for another episode of the One Micronesia Show. Before I close out, I would say a big thank you to Pizza Hut and Taco Bell for jumping on and sponsoring, and to you guys out there who watch the show every single month. Thank you so much. We'll catch you on the next episode. My name is Victorious, and all I gotta say is peace.
The One Micronesia Show is brought to you by Pizza Hut and Taco Bell.